Hello, student. Very good evening to all of you. I believe I am clearly visible and audible at your end. Now, today I am here not as a physiology teacher, but here we are to do a little chit chat regarding certain mistakes that we generally do in our examination. So, today's session is not any physiology or any subject topic. We are going to do a little chit chat direct from our heart, right? So, what we are going to do in this session, we'll be doing chit chat. In between, you can also put your question if you have any in the chat box. Okay. And this is a kind of session where we are going to point out some of the mistakes which you generally do in exam and how to correct those mistakes. You can say that this is a kind of motivational session, but again, I'm not going to give you the motivation in this session because I believe that motivation is temporary. It should comes within yourself, right? So you should be motivated within yourself, not from some external sources. So in this session, we are going to do certain chit chat on mistakes and their best possible solution. But again, try to understand that there is no magic trick or magic solution to any of the problem. If you're thinking that from this session you are going to get certain magic trick, that is also not possible. But I'm going to give you certain information or certain data, you can say, which will be helpful in your future exam. Okay. Already the FMG exam entrance result is already there. Okay. NEET PG का भी result आ गया. And so उसमें हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि बहुत सारा success stories are there. But obviously there will be failure stories also. Okay. And how to get motivated from your failure? What should be the take home message from your failure? What should be the take home message from your mistake? That we are going to discuss in this session. So now let's start the session. So first of all, I'm going to give you certain opening context. Like for example, ask yourself that how many of you walked out of your last exam hall and thinking that if only I had done this differently. This is a very common thinking. Almost most of the students, just after coming out of the exam hall, they thought that maybe I could prepare a little bit better way. Maybe I should read certain other topics which I have not done yet, or maybe my preparation I should give more weightage to certain subject. So this kind of um, thinking is very common to almost every students. And if you are getting this kind of thinking in your mind also, then you are on the right track. What you have to do, you should normalize it. What do you mean by normalize it? See, mistakes you can do. Okay. Every toppers, every students, they do mistake, including the toppers. So mistakes is not a problem. But the difference is that whether you repeat the same mistakes again in your future exam or not, that makes the big difference. Okay. So mistakes are common. If you can correct yourself, that if you can acknowledge your mistakes, that I have done these mistakes, I should have prepared myself in a better way in this manner, और मेरा प्रिपरेशन थोड़ा सा चेंज होना चाहिए था, मेरे को थोड़ा सा सब्जेक्ट में ज़्यादा फोकस करना चाहिए था दूसरा सब्जेक्ट में रादर देन ये जो छोटा सब्जेक्ट. तो ये जो इनसाइट आपका बीच में है ना, आप जो इनसाइट आ रहा है, दैट्स गुड. एंड देन आफ्टर एक्नॉलेजिंग द मिस्टेक, व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, यू हैव टू नॉर्मलाइज इट. Try not to do the same mistakes again in the future. Getting my point? Good evening, all. Good evening, all. So we are just doing a little chit chat. You can also share your thought. You can also give your advice in the chat box if you like it. Okay. And in future also, we are going to give you this kind of motivational session or this kind of sessions which will be helpful in your exam. So here we are not going to discuss the physiology per se. Okay. But some chit chat. So what I was discussing, that mistakes is common and mistakes may happen from every student, but you should not repeat the same mistakes again in your future exam. So mistakes are not the dead ends. They are the road sign for your next attempt. So take the mistakes in a positive way, that this is the mistake which I have done in this exam. This is the mistake which I have done in the grand test, and I'm not going to do the same mistake again in future. That should be the positive thinking within you. So now with this opening context, first of all, we are going to point out certain common mistakes in PG or FMG exam preparation. Thank you so much for making physiology. Thank you so much for the compliment that you feel that physiology is easy for um, from my teaching. Thank you so much. But now you have to concentrate how to reduce your mistakes. Okay, that we are going to point out here. So see that common mistake that first of all, content related mistakes. What are the content related mistakes? Sometimes student focuses more on some rare topic or the topics which are not very common in exam. Okay. Sometimes whenever you are reading medicines or surgery, you will find out that certain topics are very interesting for you. Okay. And you gave huge time in them, understanding the concept, building up of the concept, and you give much of your preparation time that this is very rare disease. I'm finding out this is very very nice to read about, and building this concept will give you huge advantage in exam. But that's not always correct, you know. We always say that in exam is mainly based on the common topics. They gave you questions on the same common topic, but the questions will be a little bit different. So build your concept on common topics, which are not very rare. Okay, you are giving your much of the times on mogging up the syndromes, rare syndromes, but rarely they are being asked in the exam. And even if you are doing them correctly in the exam, that is not going to improve your rank in a very positive way, because you know making mistakes in easier topic is deadlier than making mistakes on a rare topic. Okay, rare topic is rare for most of the students. Okay, so don't invest much of the time on rare topic. Second, endless note making but little. Please, student, be specific on this point. That I have seen that most of the student, whenever they are starting their preparation, they ask, sir, should I make my own note? See, making your own note is always good. Always good. It will give you the best eye impression. It will give you the best memory. But is it possible for you to make notes of every subject by your own hand? Okay. By making notes from the video lecture, it will take huge time. Would you devote that much of time for physiology, that much of time for pharmacology and all other subjects? Simple answer is not possible. Not possible at all. So what should you do? Should you make your note, or should you believe the notes of the prep ladder or any of them? So what I feel that the topic which are most important, or the topic which are very conceptual, those topic notes you can make detail note. Make a note in a summarized version. You should have a diary. You should have a notebook. In that notebook, write down only the important points from important topics, not all topic. Okay, because making note will take huge time. And then after making note, you have to revise. Without revision is nothing is possible. Okay. So try to believe the notes of the prep ladder, because we know here we have checked the note. Each and every line of the note we have checked, and we have made the note in a such a way that if you follow the video lecture along with the note, that is more than sufficient. But sometimes students have a temptation that I will make my own note. I am not preventing you from there, but try to calculate the time. Don't try to make the note of the whole subject, but make notes of only specific topic, important topics, and the note should be in a summarized version. Okay, getting my point? The third mistakes, content related mistakes that is done by the student is over dependence on multiple resources instead of sticking to one. Again, you should have to focus on this point. Okay, what I have felt from talking with many students, that their general consensus is that, sir, this subject is good in here, this subject is good in other platform. Okay, this teacher teaches good in this part, and the other teacher teaches this part in a better way. what should I do? See, teaching is a passion, teaching is an art. Teaching methodology is different from every teacher's. But if you look as a content, whole content of any teacher, then you will find out that there is a difference. But that difference is plus minus 2, plus minus 2 to 5% difference only. That difference is not going to make a big difference, you know. Believe me, that difference is not going to give you a big difference or big advantage. Okay. What you have to do, you have to stick to only one note or stick to only one source. Okay. Because it will just reduce your time. Okay, you can read only one source, and that source will reduce your time. Okay, so that way just stick to one source and believe the teacher and follow that teacher only. Okay, there will be difference here and there little bit, but don't go here and there. Okay, well, your focus should be in a single source. Try to do that. The next thing is that other mistakes is the test related mistakes. Okay, so here also you try to understand that generally whenever we are preparing, we stop giving grand test due to fear that I have just started my preparation, why should I give the grand test, and even if I giving the grand test I have not finished my whole topic. So is it a limitation of giving grand test? Answer is no. Grand test देना ही चाहिए, whether your preparation is complete or not. Even if the incomplete preparation is incomplete, then also you should give the grand test. Why? Because you know, in the grand test, even if you reading the questions, that what kind of questions are being asked from a particular topic, that is more than enough. So even if your preparation is not complete, even if your preparation is half complete, always try to give the grand test. Read the question, read the option, try to guess. Okay, because grand test is an area where you can do mistakes, but that mistakes should not be repeated in your final exam. Okay, so that way, read the question at least. Okay, read that what should be the type of question, what can be the type of question from a same topic which you have read earlier. Okay, you will be able to understand, you will be finding out that this is astonishing that the topic you have read, but again you are not understanding the questions. That means there is some problem in your reading. So that you should have in your strategy. So always give grand test whether your preparation is complete or not. Okay, getting my point. So don't skip grand test. Second thing is that poor time management. We all know this point that time management should be very, very important. Okay. Negative marking due to over attempt or guesswork. So again, this you have to keep in mind that whenever you are giving guesswork, okay, what I have seen in exam, स्टूडेंट का एक बिलीव होता है कि एग्जाम में बैठ के ना वो सोचता है कि वट एवर ही इज थिंकिंग कि जो मैं सोच रहा हूँ ना इसका आंसर बी होना चाहिए, वही आंसर है, मेरे को लग रहा है कहीं पे पढ़ा होगा, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस वो गलती हो जाता है। एंड गलती किसका होता है पता है? इफ यू हैव नॉट रिवाइज योर सब्जेक्ट देन दिस काइंड ऑफ गेस और मिस्टेक्स इज मोर कॉमन. At least 3 times revision should be there almost every topics. And even you don't revise, then this point, this guesswork mistakes is going to happen. Okay, guesswork will click whenever you have revised the topic at least 3 times, because there will be a baseline memory in your brain. Subconscious memory ban jata hai, and that memory will help in your guesswork. But if you are not revising your topic, if you have not revises the common topic at least 3 times, then the guesswork most of the cases is going to be mistakes, going to be a wrong answer, believe me. Okay, so don't do much of the guesswork if your preparation is not complete. Okay, now I'll look at the chat, what you are saying. Okay, I'm looking like an alien. Oh my God. Alien are going to come. Okay. So I'm studying, I'm finding, noting down almost everything. I'm very okay. So we have discussed this point that making your own note, handwritten note, has some advantage, has some disadvantage also. Uh, Okay, so see, I always remember, but I lose track. I do. Okay, theory part. So see, losing track is also a common. You know, the preparation is a long journey. Okay, that time losing track is very, very common. But what I told at the beginning, that you have to be motivated by yourself. Okay, you have to be motivated within. Okay, no external motivation can give you sustain. Sustain positivity. You have to be motivated yourself. Okay, so whenever you are not remembering something, or sometimes students क्या होता है कि पढ़ाई कर रही है उसके बाद whenever they are giving grand test, they don't able to recall. Okay, and they get frustrated that I am reading the same topic, but still I am not able to recall. I am not able to answer the questions. What is happening? Lack of revision. You have to revise the subject multiple times. That will give you much of the benefit, right? Okay. So please try to remember. I'll tell you whether RR is enough or not. Okay. So this is another common mistake. Now the next common mistake which is done is the mindset mistake. Okay. So your mindset sometimes um, can be helpful in the exam. Sometimes it can be decremental in the exam. How? See, sometimes during the long journey of a preparation, you start preparing your preparation with that of your friend. That should not be there. Try to be yourself. Okay, whatever you are preparing, don't try to compare with other students. His preparation is completely different. Even try to understand the preparation strategy between rank 1 and rank 2 students are also different, and you never know which preparation strategy is going to click. Okay, there is no magic trick. I told you repeatedly that there is no magic trick. If someone is saying that this is the best strategy for the exam, this will give you 100% benefit, then he is telling you lie. Okay, don't believe in those things. There is no 100% foolproof strategy. Whatever way you are doing, try to follow that. Don't try to compare with your friend. Don't try to compare with your peer. Okay. And then I told you already this point, that waiting for the perfect plan, that first of all I'll make a routine, and then after making this routine I'll start my preparation. Don't wait for that. Okay, even if you are starting your preparation today without any plan, do it. Start it. Start reading any of the subject which you may love. Start from there. Because वो एक बात है ना कि इफ यू आर थिंकिंग दैट रोड में जब सब लाइट सब सिग्नल ग्रीन हो जाएगा देन हम वो गाड़ी लेके निकल पड़ेंगे, वो नहीं होगा. Okay, you have to start today only. Okay, some of the signals will be red, some of the signals will be green, but you have to manage that on road itself. You have to prepare, you have to modify your strategy after starting the preparation, not before starting the preparation. So don't think and think and think that I'll make a plan, that plan should be foolproof, and you will start listening from this motivator, other motivator, what this teacher is saying, what the other teacher is saying, and then you are making a foolproof plan. No, such kind of foolproof plan does not exist. Believe me. Okay, you have to believe yourself that whatever way you are preparing, okay, already you have listened some lecture from the Prep Ladder or maybe other platform, and whatever way you have thought that this is best for you, start doing the same plan. Okay, follow the same plan and believe in yourself. Okay. Okay, so please try to keep in mind that. Okay, so these are the common mistakes which we generally do. And then now from the mistakes, what lesson we should take? Okay, so first of all, each mistake should be a feedback loop. What is the meaning of this? So whenever we do mistake, it can be a negative feedback loop, it can be a positive feedback loop. Okay, suppose you have done a mistake and then you are doing the same mistakes again in your future exam or maybe in the future grand test, then that's a positive feedback. And positive feedback, that's a vicious cycle, which most of the cases is damaging. Although there are certain, advantage of positive feedback phenomena, but positive feedback loop in biological system, most of the cases decremental. So the same thing applied here, that if you are doing a mistakes, try to prevent doing the same mistakes again in future. Try to prevent. So it should be a negative feedback kind of loop, not a positive feedback. Don't do the same mistakes again in future. So from your mistakes, you have to take lesson. What lesson you have to take? So ask yourself after every test or every attempt that the mistakes which you are doing, was it because of the lack of your knowledge or because of your exam temperament? Most of the cases, if it is lack of knowledge, then you have to understand that your preparation need more time devotions. Okay, if you are reading for 6 hours per day, try to increase the time period. If you are reading 8 hours, try to increase that. Okay, and if the second one, that after every attempt or every mistakes, you are thinking that this mistakes is because of your exam temperament, then you try to change your strategy. Okay, strategy change means not the whole strategy should be changed, but there should be little changes. If you are doing more mistakes in PYQ, try to give more time on PYQ's repetition. Okay, because PYQ mistakes is an suicidal attempt in exam. Don't try to do that. Okay, same way I told you that simple mistakes, simple topics, don't try to make that mistakes. Okay, react topic mistakes, you can you can do that. Okay, I mean, try to not to do that, but even if it's happening in the mistakes in the rare topic, then that is not much big deals. But doing mistakes in common topic is a kind of suicides in exam. Okay, then also you try to understand that did I forget because I didn't revise or because I didn't practice the recall. Okay, most of the cases your answer will fall on the revision part. You can trust me. Okay, because what I have seen, student try to finish up the whole topic, whole subject, that this is the physiology, this is the pharmacology taught by this teacher. Okay, I'll try to read all the things. Okay, and then because of the lack of time, you cannot revise. That should not be there. Even if you are finishing 80% of any subject, 60% of any subject, and if you have less time, what you should do, you should revise rather than reading new topics, rather than completing the other topics which you have left behind. So you may be thinking that 60% covering the subject is enough. That way you have to judge that within this subject, what are the most important topics, what are the core topics which I have prepared first. Okay, so that way you have to segregate, that way you have to modify your plan. Okay, and then you have to also ask yourself that was I unprepared or was my strategies as misaligned. Okay, so that way whenever you are giving any grand test, try to assess that the mistakes what you have done, how you can prevent that mistakes in future. Okay, and every failure, every mistakes in exam or even in your life, don't label it as a failure. Take it as a data, that the data you have collected, that you have failed, and you have failed because of this reason. Try to acknowledge your mistakes, and from there you gather the positivity, you gather the energy that these mistakes I'm not going to do in future. So how to prevent or fix these mistakes for a better plan? Okay, so first of all, the content related error. So I told you that what content related error generally the students do in the in their preparation. So I told you this point repeatedly, that identify the core subject, main subject. Like for example, pharmacology is one of the main subject, pathology is one of the main subject, medicine is one of the main subject. You cannot ignore those. Try to cover the high yield topics first from any of the subject. Okay, suppose you are reading medicines, try to finish up the high yield topic from where the PIQ is repeatedly being asked. And after finishing this, suppose you have devoted 15 days for medicine. Within that 15 days, you have finished only 60% of the medicine. Do the other subject rather than finishing the complete medicine by taking another 7 days or 9 days. No, you have a fixed plan, you have a time period for any subject. Within that fixed time period, try to cover up as much as possible, maybe 60%, maybe 80% of the subject, which should be high yield area, and most of them first, means revise them first again and again. Okay, and then try to move on to the next subject. And I told you this, that limit your resource. Don't try to collect multiple material from multiple teachers. Okay, those are not going to give you better preparation. Those are going to give you more guesswork in exam, more confusion in exam. Believe me. Okay, you'll not believe me right now. Maybe whenever you are sitting in the exam, you will feel this point that I should not collect those many materials from multiple sources. I should stick to only one sources. That will give you best result. And for test related error, I told you multiple times that please do give grand test regularly. Try to read the question, try to read the option, try to understand the question. That is more than enough, even if you don't know the answer of the question. And by reading the explanation from the grand test, try to gain extra knowledge. Okay, that should be the positivity you should be give all the grand test. Okay, and learn time management in exam. Okay, if you don't know the answer, if you don't know any of the options of any of the question, don't try to linger over that questions again and again. Don't try to give more time. Just skip that question, move on to the next question. Okay, and also maintain a mistakes notebook. I told you at the beginning that you should have a notebook. That notebook should note that what are the areas, what are the points you are doing repeated mistakes. Is some of the word. Okay, that the answer of this question is anterior, or the answer of this question is left shift rather than right shift, but you are making those mistakes again and again. Write down that one in your notebook. That in oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, in case of fetal hemoglobin shifted on the left side, this is the mistakes I'm doing again and again. So I'll write this point on my notebook. Okay, so that way this notebook should be there, which will note down all the mistakes which you do commonly in every exam. Okay, and that way your note is there, your own handwritten note, but that note is not a detailed note, but a note on a summarized manner. Getting my point? Okay, now next is that for mindset error. Okay, I told you that mindset can be sometimes deadly in exam. You may do more mistakes because of your poor mindset. So how to correct those mindset, how to fix that mindset? Replace the pre-perfectionism with consistency first approach. Okay, so don't try to be perfect in every way. That I have finished pharmacology from the beginning up to the end, everything I have read. Don't try to go in that perfectionism. Rather, maintain a consistency. Okay, that I'm going to um, read this POIQ, I'm going to read this much portion of the pharmacology again and again, and I'm going to do correct, I'm going to, attempt every question from this topic. That should be the approach rather than perfectionism. Manage stress with routine, sleep, exercise, and mindfulness. So this is one of the problem nowadays, because of this social media, because of everything. Um, our sleep is deprived. Okay, and we don't do regular exercise, and we also don't do mindful session in our daily life. So try to understand, try to believe me that for a physiologist, sleep is one of the essential thing. You should not compromise your sleep. Sleep deprivation is detrimental to your memory also. So in your preparation, if you are chronically decreasing your sleep duration, that will also decremental for your memory. Okay, please try to remember that. Okay, and do adjust your sleep accordingly, and also try to sleep at a stretch, not a fragmented sleep. 1 hour sleep multiple times in a day is not good enough. There should be a continuous sleep of maybe 7 hour, maybe 8 hour per day. That will give you more benefit. Okay, there are certain reasons for that. I'm not going to discuss those reasons in this session, but try to follow this. Okay, and also mingle with those people which gives you positivity. Don't try to make friends with those people who are full of negativity, because positivity has positivity has, I mean, enough strength. Okay, which make your preparation better. So surround yourself with supportive mentor or peer. Avoid negativity. It also should be done. So 3 things you should do for doing or avoiding mistakes in future exam. One is recognize your mistake, acknowledge it, then reflect that why these mistakes have happened, because of your lack of knowledge, because of your revision, and then you try to correct that mistakes by redesigning your plan. Redesigning does not mean that you should change your whole plan, but just change a little bit. Okay, I told you already that if you're making more mistakes on PYQ, give more time on that. If you are understanding the topic, you are reading the theory, you are remembering that. But even after remembering, even after understanding the theory topic, you are not able to do the MCQs. Then try to do MCQ on a regular basis. Okay. So this way, try to redesign your preparation. Okay. Now, there is a question that is it good to have a mixed subject notebook or individual? Mixed subject notebook is more than enough. Individual notebook is not required. Okay, mixed subject notebook is good enough. Okay, so there should be a thick notebook that should be mixed subject. Okay, I scored pretty good in MCQ, but my handwriting becomes so. This is most be a problem. Handwriting problem is the most be a problem is an university exam, not in MCQ. Okay, so handwriting, if it is not good, try to give gap in between lines and try to give more flowchart, more diagrams in your exam preparation. So that will give you more marks. MCQ percentage not increasing, stuck with 60%. Give more revision, 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 revision. Sometimes in grand test, marks may not increase that much, but ultimately, if you are giving more revision, certainly your marks will be improved in the final. Try to believe me, okay? And last one, the closing note. Okay, so with this closing note, we are going to end this session. So the exam does not punish mistakes. It punishes repeating them. Okay, so if you are doing the same mistakes again and again, then it's a punishment for you. Your rank is not going to be good. Every mistakes you decode brings you one step closer to your rank. I told you already that analyze your mistakes, acknowledge them, and try to rectify them, not do the same mistakes again and again. And the next closing note is that after today, don't fear doing mistakes. Track them, learn from them, and let them shape your winning plan. Getting my point? So with this closing note, look at this image. So there is an important take-home message from this image. Fail years ago, never gave up. I always remember this message in my life. Okay, so you should never give up. Okay, failures are not the dead end. You have to rise up again. Don't give up. Never give up. So this message you should always keep in your mind. With this positivity, I'm ending this session, and we'll be doing this kind of session again in future to boost your preparation, to give you more confidence in exam. So I think you liked the session, so also liked our channel. And I believe I have discussed all the questions that you raised in the chat box. So thank you so much for joining this session, and best of luck for your future preparation. Thank you so much.